just get my sound correct. There we go.
It says we are live. So,
Beautiful.
welcome. If there's anyone here, but welcome. I am Jostein, hosting this channel, What If? We have the amazing Josh X with us, and today we're gonna talk about the ancient practice of meditation.
There we go. But it's a pleasure to be here as usual. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm grateful to be in
My pleasure.
Paul's presence. Thank you. Thank you. Got myself a wonderful jug of fresh orange juice to keep me sustained.
I just ate a bowl of approximately 2 kilo of fruit salad, so that will last me
Wow,
this
boy.
talk, at least.
Did you try the thing that I mentioned with that
No,
one, or
I
did you
didn't
just have it
actually.
as usual?
I didn't. Do you just blend the mango or mix it with some water or?
No, never mix. I never mix water with fruit. I'll always use another source of fruit. So if I make a smoothie and it's not liquid, I'd always use orange juice or something like that to make it more liquid. Otherwise, it just becomes, a bit watered down and it's not what it should be. So yeah, I would say maybe just a couple of bananas and maybe 2 mangoes, depending on the size of your family's fruit salad bowl.
So that will
But
kind of
blend
be
it very well.
so that's the
Custard.
sauce for your custard.
Yes.
Custard is the right.
If you add half an avocado or an avocado to the mango, it becomes very custard-like. And then you would pour it all over your fruit salad, and it's very lovely. Very lovely.
Sounds great.
Just these small touches help the young ones transition.
I see we have some company, so if I can ask the people who are here if our audio is, and video for that matter, is similar and a-okay, that would be good. I see we have Melissa.
Say to sister.
Welcome, Melissa.
Let's get this. Yesterday is going to be a
While
wonderful.
we
My internet's quite skippy today. Are you receiving me okay?
You're okay as long as you don't touch your microphone because that makes a lot of ruckus. It's like when if you touch your mic, it picks up a lot of noise. Luckily, we'll be solving that.
But I'm
very
logged
soon.
on to this now as well, so I can see all of the comments.
Can
I had
hear
someone
you.
who reached out saying they needed a little bit of help, so I did send them to this show, and I told them they're more than welcome to join and ask anything they need to.
Yes. Very good. Very good. So, the ancient practice of meditation. How, just for curiosity, how old would you say? I know the normal perception or what's out there of information says it's like 5,000 years old. What would you say?
I would say that the moment of creation, in that very, very moment, meditation was born. Meditation is that very space that creates. So the instantaneous manifestation of form which came from that very stillness is the true space of meditation. So meditation is resulted.
Can you bring your mic a little bit closer, Josh? Or yourself a little bit closer, maybe? Oh.
There we go. I can speak louder. I can do anything you wish me to do. I can do for you.
Yeah. No, it's just when you're a little bit far away, it gets a little bit yeah, not perfect,
Cool.
but
Well, yeah.
it's
So
okay.
absolutely, brother. There's a small delay, so forgive me if I do talk over you. But yeah, so this meditation is going to be something that may open a lot of people's eyes to the world of concepts and how hearsay and what we've been given as a source of information can really stop us and halt us from finding that which is the ultimate truth. It's a very great design, but it's the purpose of this creation here to be seeking for something that you can never find. And to the realization is that you are the very thing which you have been seeking for your whole existence. And you've spent millions of years trying to get back to this space as a part of your experience / game. And today, I think, as people start to begin to join us, we shall move towards the explanation of it within language itself to help this understanding come to fruition. I think it's very important that we can share this along the way, because the language that I see is so profound that it will lead everyone who can understand it, decipher it, to be able to uncover all the mysteries, all the missed stories of our existence. So meditation as a verb, as a word itself, we can see a few different dimensions inside of it. Yeah. And what I would do is write this down. I will do the word meditate, and I will also do the word meditation. So also meditation, or to be meditation or meditative, is to have unified the energies of your system, the masculine and feminine. So all of the grand secrets of the ages and the interpretations of all religions leads to this very point, to be meditation, to be meditative. We see the word meditate. This represents number 13, the absolute pure balance center of the alphabet. And E represents the blue shift, the divine feminine. Dipolarism or dipole, is the point when the masculine and feminine, or the positive and negative, are at the closest proximity they could be. And when these two are in such proximity or balance, they release light or plasma. This is where the light body would be released within the interpretations of ancient mystery. Now we have A, which is the alpha, and E, which is the ether. T is the physical. So you see it's a physical that is unified with the A, red shift, and E, blue shift. So this 8 is actually in numerology. A is 1, T is 20, and E is 5. 1 and 2 and 5 is 8. Now it's an 8. And this 8 is the Mobius loop, or the eternity symbol, which is where the everlasting life would come into play with the mysteries of religion, for example. And this would be the red, and this would be the blue shift, and this is all down to the magnetic field. So if one searches or does a quick search of dipole or dipolar, you will see that is the unification of these two mysterious forces of energy. Atoms or magnetic fields, positive and negative, creating a balance, and then that balance creates this plane of inertia. You could say dielectricity. And in the phonetics of the word meditate, it's me, die, 8, or me, die, physical at ions. So me to balance with form in consciousness, and my physical at ion. Does this make sense? Would you like to pick at it? Would you like to have a clear explanation? Because it would be good to make sure that this has kind of been understood as we go forward into this journey of meditation.
Yeah. Also, to be honest, I've heard you explain this word so many times, but it's
Can you
still
give me permission to share the screen while we do this, maybe?
Sure.
I'll see if I can align this in such a way. So let's get this up. So if I share this screen here, there we go. So do you see dipole, yeah?
Yeah.
Or dipole, a pair of separated electric charges or magnetic poles of equal magnitude, but opposite in the sign or polarity. So they are absolutely pure balanced, positive and negatively. If we find another definition, maybe. Let's try dipole. And then you can move into the dielectricity, which is the manifestation of the balance within the torus or the magnetic field. A pair of equal and oppositely charged or magnetized poles separated by distance, a very close proximity. So the die meaning, or the die itself, is where we would get the word die, or to learn to die. So to learn to die is to be liberated from this death, this deathly experience that people find that they fear very much during the existence of the physical body. And during this path to enlightenment, you are basically becoming one and unified with yourself, having that realization that you have created this whole existence within inside yourself. And then everything within experiential manifestation, all the questions are answered. There is no question that you will ever have bringing a great peace, bringing a great silence, because the source of all is pure silence. It's pure stillness, and everything which has arisen from this. And so to understand that word meditation, you would also see the word discover, and what we need to discover is this die S has been covered, the die sine wave, or this pure cosmic balance. And there is one simple path to this, and many more difficult paths that can lead to confusion, but also essentially everything that we do in this creation will always lead us back to source. Everything is perfectly designed, and it's the realization that everything is perfect. Perfect also leads to one's freedom. So I hope the dipole makes sense, and I hope you can begin to see that, D is 4, which is the form, and I is 9, which is the consciousness. So form and consciousness, or you could say matter and spirit, unify with these two symbols. Language itself is hieroglyphic, but we've been given a cipher to see it in a different way. But there is a grand awakening when one can see these things. And every single word is an absolute instruction to the truth. It reveals the instruction to free oneself from the very word that is being shown. It's like if we said the word done, okay? Now we know that D is form. So if you were to be done, what's left after the word, after the letter D?
One.
There we go. The form has become one, which is atonement, or at one mind. Yeah, which is absolutely the key to this monument that we have been missing. Mon is also a representation of one. And mon, you, meant, are supposed to bring you to oneness within the mind. But obviously the translation of the English has not been such an easy thing to see because of the nature of where we are again. Let's see what we have in the comment section today. So yes, so there's an ultimate sort of system that we can do to bring ourselves to this meditation, and usually within the information age that we have, there's always a discourse. Discourse is the solution. You see within the word of discourse is die es course, or co your se, which is co your sine wave with the e, which is the blue shift or the ether. So in the word discourse is basically expressing that you need to get on course with this die state. So it's always pushing you to something that is objective, which is not the true source of your creation. So we tend to see the art of meditation to be something that we would sit in a lotus position and try to clear ourselves in that moment, which is fine. But to be meditative, or to find true source, when one has arose from the peaceful state of meditation back into the world, they are not this at all times. So there is a beautiful art, a great work that will allow one to become this, to become one with their self. And it takes time, and it takes great concentration and effort in your day-to-day lives as a true contemplative nature on your very source of creation. And there are a few, great questions that we can ask ourselves along this path, which allow us to become in tune with ourselves. So what's happening is there's a psyche, a psychological process, or an ego that we have to transcend, which is the separation from that which we truly are. And it's a great tool to keep one alive during this incarnation. And we've had this as a part of our evolution for many millennia, many thousands, maybe millions of years. And we're at this point within our evolutionary state now where this must be transcended to continue to evolve or to move beyond this experience. And you could say is purgatory, which we have fallen from the Garden of Eden. And we fell because the nature of our questions when we were in this state where we were looking and viewing on perfection, and as a part of this viewing, we evolved the mind. And then the mind was able to assess and to interpret and to be able to question its own reality. In that questioning, we have fallen into this dream state, and we are within this creation to be able to find ourselves once again, to become free from the very questions of the questioning. So if I ask you, who am I? Who am I? Now, the word I is so profound within its own beauty that every mystery can be just solved by looking at I. Now, I'll always go to this truth-seeking movement, because this is essentially when one becomes very inquisitive about the nature of the world. We find this all-seeing I very profoundly, 13 steps going to this on a pyramid. Now, we spoke earlier about the letter M being number 13 in the alphabet. It's the golden arches, a representation of pure balance. The top of the torus, as it reciprocates and goes round, it's neither left, it's neither right. It is pure harmonious balance within itself. And that's a key to understand. So these 13 steps that lead us to this I is absolute balance. And this is the representation between the A and Z, the alpha, the omega, the longitudinal and latitudinal wave of magnetism. So we search for this M, and we search for this I. But this I is not a mystery. This I is that which you truly are. So who am I? There are two positions. Simply, you could be coming from the position of the person, which is the one that is involved in the world, the one that has the drama, the one that has the mind and believes and perceives this to be the ultimate reality physically. And if you connect this with the Bible verses, for example, I think there's 20 something times within the Bible that expresses that God is not a respecter of persons. The spectrum is light. A spectacle is to see, and to respect is to re-see. So when you respect someone, you see the divine in them as such. So God can never see through the eyes of a person, and he never will. Or you will never see or find God identifying as a person. So there's a process within inside your own contemplation and your own questioning. And every single moment as you unveil this within inside yourself as a revelation, everyone finds the self from revelations within inside. So seeking the external world is never going to lead you to this ultimate reality. And this is why within the movement, there's always a pointing to know the self. But how do we begin to know the self? And we begin by asking that very question is, who am I as myself? And we sit there and we try to become very quiet. And in that instant of asking that question, if you will try it in this moment, you ask yourself, who am I? You'll see that there is peace, there is quiet. In the instant that you ask this question, the mind does not know who it is. So when you ask this question, there's silence. And then you can also ask yourself during this process, you could say it's like a type of self-inquiry. What is the source of this question? And as you question yourself, what is aware of this question and the questioner? So I asked the very question, but inside of me, there's this awareness that is aware that this question is being asked. What is this awareness that is aware of this very question? What sees this question? So the next question you would ask yourself is, what sees this? What sees all of this going on without questions? What sees the very awareness become aware of the questions and the questioners without any question? Something greater than all of these things here sees all of these things arise within inside itself without any question. Now, if you can stay in this position and see from here, there is vast quiet. There is vast silence. And this is your pure state. Free from all identity. Free from all things, all objects. See, you are truly seeking for something which you are seeing from. And every time you look externally from you, you elude yourself from this, no matter what the concept. So the true source of meditation is not found in sitting in silence, it's found in contemplation and then meditating with that contemplation in a peaceful state with these very questions to yourself. The fastest way that one can become the self is to stay silent. But to become silent and do not think is the very hardest thing that mankind can do. Or should I say personhood, possibly maybe a better choice of words.
I had some questions about, and maybe some of the people listening to this will have them as well, like more like you now were talking about the technicalities of a meditation. You know, you can meditate while walking, while lying, while sitting. So what's the is there a correct way, or is there a wrong way? when we talk about stillness and silence, for me, if I want stillness and silence, now it's better now we move to the countryside, but in the city there's always some ambient sounds. And most people have them at home as well, you know, there's a heater going on or there's always something going on. But I put on sound, you know, mufflers like this just to block out the sound. And then, you know, you can actually hear your heartbeat almost. But how do you meditate, Josh?
So I do not meditate in the conventional meaning of the word. I am meditation. So to find it is only found, which is why there's so much misdirection and direction to this, is through contemplation. Your key is the psyche. And you have to unfold yourself and all your concepts, all your beliefs, all your desires, all of these things that are keeping you separate from this stillness and this silence. So the silence is not noise, it's not physical or physically silent. It is to have no mind. It is to have no noise as you see, as you look. There's no song being repeated in the head from your favorite music. There's no anger or question arising. There is no imbalances as you go through your day-to-day. There's just a grand observation, a grand frequency shift that sees all things arise within itself and knows the true nature of its own creation. To know that this whole experience has been created within inside yourself in a state of dream. And every time you go to sleep, you wake up, and every time you wake, you go to sleep. And you have dreams within dreams. This is inception. And the deception out there removes you from the awareness of it. And the reception brings you back. If you're receptive and open, it brings you back to this reception. And this is how you can accept life to be the very thing which you have created for your grand play, as you want to experience separation from yourself as a very difficult process to expand your own awareness and then come back to be able to create heaven as such. You see, you're promised heaven within inside these religious texts. If you find or follow the path, for example, of Jesus Christ, we could say. Now, Christ or Jesus Christ was a man, such as Buddha was a man. But the awareness state of Buddha is God, realization, the Godhead. Same with Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was a man who found this realization within inside himself. And he tried to share the path of the light, which is so difficult for man to comprehend because its nature is so simple that the allegories and stories have, you could say, bastardized and kept people, fighting this space or searching externally and creating, conflict and all of these things to bring them to a space of pain and suffering. So that it actually pushes them closer to freedom each time they have these experiences, with inside the belief that everything is physical, because the suffering comes from the identity or the attention of your true self given to the person. You could say you are almost pure attentiveness. You are attention. So wherever you put your attention, you are this. And this is why your attention is so very powerful, because you have the absolute choice to give your attention, for example, to the mind and the person, and to become so much involved that there's so much suffering and so much cycling of past, because one wishes to always continue to become free and break boundaries, to be able to grow and expand. But this is not happening within inside a person. This is what jobs are. I mean, jobs are persecution by definition. I think it's Hebrew is the definition. Job is persecution. So you do these jobs and then you recycle yourself each and every day living in the groundhog. And there's so much pain and so much suffering on the identity. But as a process of awareness shifting, you can keep your attention in this present moment and leave every type of history, every type of baggage, every type of identity, and you see the nature of the moment unfold itself here. And this is called presence. This is the pre-sense. This is the in no sense. This is to be able to see as life is unfolding here without any interpretation from this ego. And that's a silence. That's enlightenment there. That's where the mind is, or the mind has been lightened. It's enlightened mind. So the mind itself is full of cycling information that it has seen and it processes to keep one alive in a state of unconsciousness. So as we learn to grow and to meditate, we contemplate and we come to realizations or revelations in each and every stage as we evolve back to ourselves. So to sit down and to try to meditate will only increase the noise. It will only increase the attention on the mind. So the best thing that we can do is contemplate, to become aware, and then to take the necessary adjustments or adjustment, and you could say fortune ourselves to be seeing that which is true, to be able to reveal this, or revelations. The word revelation is R-Eve, which is the full magnetic, and then this Eve represents even. And then you L at ion, which is the L of a circle, which could be a red or a blue, an AO or an EL. And this is explained within YouTube channel. We have an AO and EL within language, which will show you this torus, this grand sacred sex between the masculine and feminine, uniting, or unity, one tie. This is to get rid of the ego. This is to have the realization that you are non-duality, because duality is the fall of man. And then every question that one has will be found as they go inside to be silenced, because you know everything is non-physical. But the physical nature of yourself, while you're on the journey, you must free yourself. And that's the meditation. That's the path to meditation. It's a long journey, but it can be found here, now, for anyone that is truly willing to just let go and to be here. There's an opportunity each moment. And you're never far from it. You just pick up the bags of the person and you walk with it day to day. And that continues to interpret life for you. We need to not think. And as we do internally, there's an absolute shift. And as that shift continues to happen, everything is revealed here. So I'd love for everyone to know that, yes, to sit down and to be silent is nice. Physically, it brings a state of body balance. But to become free from body and mind is to be in pure balance at all times. Thus, any situation that arises externally to you, it can never shift, it can never adjust you, it can never shake you. There is no identity or awareness or attention fixated on the drums of the person or the noise of the mind. It's like a baby. If you've seen a lion roar straight at a baby, it would just look and maybe giggle. But one who is identified with the history will become fearful of this. But fears, and all fears, are illusions. And they always go down to this death, the fear of death. And again, death is an illusion. It is a belief. And one will never experience death, only ego death. Because as one may believe their experience in physical death, it will never happen. You will wake up from the dream to realize that you were once dreaming, or you were dreaming.
Sorry, I was muted. Just to address one question from Smiling Sun. He's asking if there's a book on how to use language as you do, Josh. And I can say we're all waiting for that book. But if we were to, let's say, somebody listening to this and maybe are pretty new to the whole meditation concept, and if they are, probably what you said now would be a bit deep, I would expect. So when
I'd say that they were here because it was absolutely perfect for them. And even though it may seem deep, every pointing that I'm giving them will absolutely lead them to a greater understanding of themselves.
So just to be clear, there's not a right or a wrong way to meditate. There's a lot of information out there. You know, you can do guided meditations, and like I said, standing, lying, walking, and all the, like you say, all the time, all the time.
It's inward contemplation. This is the only way that one will reach these states. You know, you may do your breath work, which is lovely. It's a different attentiveness towards the mind, and you are starting to reprogram yourself to a more peaceful state of personhood. The person starts to see the joy in life. The person says, you know what, these birds sound beautiful, not, I wish these birds would be quiet because I'm trying to sleep, but I've got to get up for work. This is how we start to attune it, to see that the song that they sing is most incredible, which then changes your alignment, which makes this song sing, which then brings freedom in all states, because you are locked in a prison, or a prison within inside your mind. And your mind is a very complex space. So one by one, you can leave each identity, you can drop every bag along the way. You can realize that there's a fear here. You can face it. And you can surrender that fear by realizing that that fear was just an illusion of thought processes. That's contemplation. That's seeing that, you know what, I was sat here in this very space, dreaming in my own thoughts, and I felt my whole body shift and my energy become unstable. I got very hot within the body and felt suffering here. But then when you bring the attention off of this sufferer into the moment, you'll see that there's just this room that you're sat in, this very reality of this present moment, which there is no suffering here. So one who is a thinker is the sufferer. But there is an observer of the thinker. But if you can jump from being the thinker to the observer of the thinker, you're free. Then you're the contemplator. You're seeing this. This is a great shift in one's internal awareness. And that's how we become meditative. Nobody does meditation in the world. You are meditation. It's like yoga. You know, we say yoga is this, but truly yoga means union. Yoga is the collective arts of all these things which align ones to become one on. Non-dual looking. Everyone, bar a few, are bipolar. And we have this very disease that is given to many children during this state. Everyone's bipolar. Everyone has a mind and everyone has the spirit.
And that's what normally people say when if I talk to them about meditation and ask them if they do meditate. They say they tried, but they couldn't do it because they were thinking too much.
Yes.
So, but isn't that kind of the first step on the way to be aware that you have these thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, everything within inside yourself is pure effortlessness. So when you try, it will always elude you. So to sit here and to try is to believe in something other than yourself, because you've never not been yourself. Not once. But there's only been this belief that you are not yourself, so you try to become something other than yourself, thus moving yourself further away each time you try. And this is why it's just to look and to look I mean, most people don't even really see that they're able to see such a 3D reality with all these sensory perceptions that you've created with inside the state of dream. You get to experience all of this as a fun. It is an experience, but it can be very fun. It can be very, uplifting if one can see this.
Mm.
All of these things that arise are wonderful and perfect. All the illusions that we see within inside the world themselves are wonderful and perfect because there's something to give your attention to. But when you transcend the world and your attention is off the world doesn't exist anymore. It's just what it is. Do not love the world or anything inside the world. And the world is a representation of all corporate industry. The earth itself is perfect in its design. You've created this, and everything that you see now, you will never create again because you've answered these questions. So when you choose to leave the cycle of samsara, you'll have everything that you become aware of here to create. And your world that you will create will be absolutely perfect and designed by yourself. Never fear death. Never fear death, because you can never die. Your life is eternal. The very fear of death will stop one becoming eternal because the belief is held inside the mind that one is not eternal, which then has this transcribing effect inside the nature of your reality, and you go through your day-to-day fearing this death. And that's why to learn to die is to be liberated from death. Because when you become very balanced with your form and consciousness, that revelation happens within inside yourself. So as we spoke with these contemplations earlier, who am I as myself? When you go through this retroductively, which means you go back home within inside yourself, asking these questions. What is the source of this question? What is aware of this question? What sees this question arise within inside itself? And also sees the questioner. Who are these two? And what's this seeing, this grand seeing? And if I try, also effortlessly look, this will just naturally fall into your place. And you'll begin to just see from this space, the world has a different vibrancy. Your whole beingness transcends from the alpha wave to the omega, or in unity with both, which is an instantaneous healing that goes on within inside your system. The Kundalini energy is activated, your whole experience changes, your energy, your frequency automatically does what it needs to do to bring balance and harmony to the world, to the earth, to beings. Because you know, no one is separate from you. Everything is energy. Instantaneous symbiotic relationships happen within inside this field of energy at all times. And the manifestation of light or photons is only down to the pure balance. So there's nothing, and inside this nothingness, this wonderful, we could say, field, there's just pure power that exists. The lightning strikes. Where does this form manifest from? This is available at all times. There is no separation between anything here, just the illusion of it. And then you realize that all has come from within. That revelation there will free everyone from samsara, and it will free everyone from all of its fears and all of its concepts and all of its desires, because you can continue creating the life that you wish to lead with no desire, with no fear, and understanding that everything that you are is what you will receive. If you receive the vibration of fear, you'll have a life of scenarios that align with you, that try to get you to awaken and overcome your fear. But if you're unaware of this, the cycle continues, and there's a great suffering, because one will always have the negative aspect of life continue each and every day. Where the virtues come in, because they're so powerful in cleaning up this altered perception of personhood. And we get to experience and see what it's like to truly understand the nature of the energy rather than the nature of physicality, because all things physical come from energy.
I had a few questions now, but when you have talked and explained all these questions may be irrelevant because but my role in this is kind of representing the people who maybe haven't come so far on their journey, and maybe even be the devil's advocate sometimes. But for example, you know, is there not an importance in having the straight spine, sitting in the lotus, heel connecting to your lower regions and all these things? Is there is nothing to worry about or think about or
So,
try to
this is good
practice?
because for me, I just like to point and adjust people's perception to help them on their journey. So, to talk like this, just openly about stuff, has never really been me. So, absolutely, when you are meditation, of course. So once you've found this ultimate space, then you can go and sit down and you can play with every single aspect of this whole physical experience and create new things within inside yourself. You create the tesseract, you liberate yourself from all ways. You can create an absolute world of magic. You align with and you see the very things which align with you have come from that which you are. So that's that saying that rings all around the street and be the change you wish to see. You don't go around, personally with the person doing these acts. You do them as a freedom and elevation, just as from letting go of that person. So once you've let go of most of your personhood and you find it very easy to walk through life without suffering, you'll be able to sit on the sofa, you'll be able to sit on the mat, shut your eyes and not suffer, and then be pure in your meditation, or that will adjust you very close to your meditation. So yes, I would say you can save that, or you can do it as a form of peace. But the only way is this contemplation state. You have to be aware and to continue to grow and expand your awareness. Because just to let go here and now is something unfathomable for most people. Like I say, just to look and to see, don't pick up anything, nothing, no questions, no identity, no past, no future, no fear, and just be here and look with no noise, absolutely no mind is here, and I see. And then I get to see that this is an absolute reality that I have a great seeing of, which is coming from this. And I'm here and now involved with this that I've already created, but I didn't know I created it, and I lost myself for a second. So I am the source of all creation, and I'm the master magician that is ultimately creating this reality. What a great revelation this is. I mean, the goosebumps, the energy that is felt just in explaining this is incredible. Because this is truly what's happening. The turtle, I don't say the turtle, this is not the common one. The chicken or the egg? Which came first? Neither. They were both dreamt. There's your solution. How did the first man arise? All of a sudden, now it crawled out of the ocean. How did the ocean arise? How did God create the world in 7 days? 7. What is 7? The sine wave. This is the seer. This is the photon. This is the light. This is what is the projection. So if you created the world, what if, my brother, you created the world? You created everything in it. There's an instant manifestation once you become aware, once you started to see, and that powerful nature of thoth, contemplation, creation, create, ions, ion. All of these wonderful forms came from this. And as you created these forms, you begin to create more complexity to it. And then you thought, if I managed to create something but inside that I could get lost in, and to expand myself so much to feel what it's like to not be myself. And with a very difficult scenario to find myself within inside all of this world. And I can create all of these holy texts and everything, even the nature of the torus field, even the nature of energy. You dreamt it all. So it's such a complex reality that even the greatest seeker, which I was, you see that everything is energy. Now I see this world as this energy, and now I can become lost. I can focus all my attention on, magnificence, or magnifying my sense through magnetism or magic. And I see the world and I see the conspiracy, but do I stay focused on the conspiracy? Do I evolve past it? Do I become angry in my nature? Do I start to get, very identified the fact that the world is such a terrible place that I need to tell everybody? People don't need to be woken from their slumber. People need to wake themselves when they have a true will. And this is why love is what you truly are, and will is what you truly have. And that will is the wheel. It's the cycle of samsara, and as you cycle, you become more aware, and the imprint or the signature is the vibration that you hold. So every time you're incarnated, the very moment you leave, you're this energy, and this energy looks for another energy frequency match with inside mothers and fathers for the very experience that is necessary for them to continue to evolve. And then you keep going back and peeling back the layers of this onion, or this onion. And the revelations after revelations after revelations after revelations, they continue to happen for you. It's a magical realm. You are pure magic. You are instantaneous manifestation, lost in a belief that you cannot manifest or be very instant in everything. So time has this illusory state. So you perceive time in such a slow rate that everything is mundane and there's so much suffering, yet there is no time in meditation. When you are meditative, you can become meditative in this very instant by your attention being so focused on a single point. You can draw, you can create, you can do anything. Time is irrelevant. They say, ganja or cannabis was a holy sacrament that gives one a state of meditation, separate from personhood. This is why it feels, for most people, very freeing at the end of the day or during the day, but you become very separate from the nature of reality. It's a bit inorganic as such, but it does take one there, and it does help people on a journey inside the world. This is why one can smoke or to take or to partake in it and just stare, and then an hour has passed, but no time.
So I've actually meditated for 25 years without knowing it.
Yeah. This is
we have a few.
Please.
We have a few questions. Maybe we can hit a few of them. Lisa, she says, isn't one's entire life supposed to be meditation? No matter what you're doing, isn't it a constant silencing of the mind, centering of oneself? One does not have to sit with eyes closed to meditate. So that's basically what you've been saying.
Yeah, as you become, expanded enough to get past your childhood, and you start to see and become pointed, hopefully by somebody, an elder, that can give you this pointing, then yes, absolutely, every day should be a contemplation. But what you don't need to do is, try to have the effort there. It shouldn't be a constant silence in the mind. Is putting effort to silence the mind, and this is where the attention is so powerful, because really your attention's on the mind, and it's always going to be noisy. So you don't try to silence the mind, because the mind picks up everything that it sees. You just take your attention off of the mind and into the moment. and you consistently bring your attention here when it goes back to the noise, because the noise is very, very dazzling.
Okay. Actually, just from my own experience, trying to meditate and having the thoughts, my experience is that many a time the thoughts that comes to me is sort of something maybe that I need to do, or something that I haven't done. Also, so when thoughts come, my experience is that it's a good idea to kind of look at it. Is it something? What is it? Is it something I have, pushed in front of me and not acted on, or is it maybe an idea? Is it an idea? Is it my brilliant mind, or is it a download? So of course it's not my brilliant mind. It's a energy, or it's a yeah, a download. I like to think of it as a download. Like I'm given.
It's a moment of freedom from looking at the mind, and everything that you are searching for will be given to you in that moment, and that's where all the answers lie, in freedom. But it's becoming free. So when you don't have a mind and you're not focused your attention on the mind, these things pop up to you all the time as a revelation. It's not a download, it's such a download, but it's a revelation. And you become aware of this. And then you start to trust it. And you start to realize that every time you speak and you think, you slip up. Every time you're free and you speak, it comes from somewhere other than this person. And it's an automatic flow, and it's so greater than this body mind that holds all of the cycling, and the things come up new. Then the language that I see, it wasn't, as someone asked about, well, can they do anything about? Unfortunately not. It was a cipher. It was deciphered by myself, looking with attentiveness at each individual synchronicity in our language. It took 2 years. 2 years of contemplation on every single word that I seen. And then I contemplated within inside myself, and I crossed everything as a holistic synchronization. And then, boom, one day I was just like, wow, this has evolved into an absolute language, and every single thing is a message. And it's such a beautiful thing. And everyone has the capacity to just express themselves honestly, which is one of the hardest things we can do, is to let go of the worry about somebody else and how they perceive to see you, and thinking for yourself, and even thinking about what others may be thinking about yourself. And that there stops you. That stops the flow. That stops the current.
Definitely.
And this is the path to meditation.
Organic intelligence. Hello. He's asking you, Josh, have you felt like giving up anytime during your experience?
Of course, during my younger days, when I was about 13, 14, 15, as I started to really see the nature of the world, and no one else around me had any sort of awareness of it, I would obviously suffer in a sense where I was trying to do something which wasn't the correct thing to do. I was trying to bring others into the thing. I was trying to change other people's opinions, which then is not the thing to do. It is absolutely the reverse of the thing to do. To see the world in such perfection is the very freedom from it. Because the belief and everything that people perceive is non-relative. You come to that awareness that you are in the space that is created for duality. You are in purgatory, you could say. It's almost very hellish, but there are heaven and hell here, and they exist simultaneously, and it's your attention and your perception and how you perceive the world to be. And that's why it's a tuning. You tune yourself to see such beauty And you clean up yourself with the virtues by becoming very patient and kind and charity in your ways and having humility, you know. And then once you do these things, your song that you sing and the vibration that you are is a balanced, perfect field that doesn't contain any karma. And there's no karma in this moment. You either be fully attentive to each moment for days and days and days until the attention shifts here, thus giving you enlightenment, or you take the slow and steady route, which is what most people have to do. You know, these near-death experiences that people see, you know, that's a way that a lot of people find this space, but it leaves them. So if it's something you want to keep, it must be earned. It must be earned. And I promise you, this slow and steady path is the most kind to you. Because when one adjusts and one becomes free from one thing, the feeling and the rush and the elevation of energy that you get, or application of the truth, that in itself is freedom. That gives you the Kundalini energy, you know, a magnifying rush of Kundalini energy, which is so profound and continues to drive you each and every time. You get excited, you have happy, you have all these feelings, you have bliss, and then they pass. And then you do something new and you continue to expand yourself and you feel that freedom and it continues to expand until one moment is just, you're just bliss. You're walking around in a whole different world. Everything that you perceive, even the shape of a box room, is beautiful. Because it is what it is, and you get to experience that from nothing. Darkness, you want taste. I mean, obviously senses are deep, so you consume the food and it desensitizes the body to be receptive to all these smells and these flavors. And you know, I expect you experienced it when you used to just diet for your bodybuilding shows, when you just took away certain foods that you were consuming just to be a more healthier. And then your smell heightened. You could walk down the street and smell from a mile away. You know, it's just like this. As you start to clean and go back to nature, your smell, your taste, your sight, your vision, all these things start to get repaired, rejoin. You can rejoice and you know, move back into this one space. It is so free from any experiential pain and suffering, whether it's mind, body, emotional, and you truly connect with this divine. And this is what man is in search for, the divine feminine or divine feminine. You are D for form, okay? And then feminine, you can hear nine. Nine is number I is consciousness. So the divine feminine is found through joining and merging these two energies together, which is number 9 or I, which is the feminine. Everything in your reality is created for you to be able to see and to be able to Eve, to be able to leave, to be level, Eve, L. These two L's are balanced. To exit these two wonderful energies, feminine V and masculine. X marks the spot, but what is the spot and where do we find it? It's a very sweet spot. What is this bullseye? It's at the very center. Where is center? See, enter. And why did you enter in the place enter, the place that you entered? Everything is perfect. You are perfect. Everything that has happened to you is perfect by its nature. And if you wish to expand, you let go. You grab more stuff. Let go of the weight that's carrying this wonderful hot air balloon of energy, and you continue to rise. Do we have any more questions within?
Yes, we can take one from Nicole. Hello, Nicole. Question for George. What's your opinion on the study of martial arts for meditation? Forgive me if I'm already addressed, but I don't think you are.
It's a really good question. I think if we reverse the question, it would be even better. It's like, what would meditation be for the studying of martial arts? If I go into combat with someone, for example, and I think about the next move has not happened, so it will elude me from the truth and I will not be able to respond. I will react. So in a reactiveness, you will lose this state of presence and you will end up ultimately losing this battle. Hello, my dear friend.
Just a good night.
Lovely. A beautiful man. So really, to learn the art of moving away from person and keeping your presence in this state, you will become the greatest fighter, like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was practicing the arts of distillation. He had to fight his demons. If you study his work, which I did as a child, I was very much into martial arts. I started at age 5 and did it for many years. You must be free if you wish to be great. You can't have fear going into a fight. You shake, you tremble. And this is energy is being wasted. You see, when one is in this state, you don't even look, you just feel the energy of the person and you see the whole body move, because if you focus your attention onto this one point physically, you'll miss everything that's going on within inside the body. So to be meditative and to be free from the baggage of personhood, the fears, the illusions, all these things, that's the most important thing you can do for anything, any sport, even playing darts, even bow and arrow, archery. You are superhuman in everything that you apply yourself to in a state of meditation. Absolutely beyond anything you could ever imagine. So going back to this supernatural state is key to everything you wish to do, to become, anything you apply yourself to, anytime you focus your attention just for longer than 10 minutes, you'll create that. People sit and they dream and they wish they could create something that's going to free themselves. But I promise you, if you just give it your attention and you do you, everything you do will bring you abundance. If it's done in your freedom, not with your force. You trust the universe, and in that trust is a vibration of trust. So the universe trusts you, and in doing so, everything that you wish will be aligned. It's a beautiful process. I can remember going through, many years ago, just going through these processes of seeing this reality bring things in such perfect time when you just let go.
Yeah, actually, Lisa has a question in that area. Josh, did you have any cataclysmic moment where you had your awakening like Eckhart Tolle had, or was it over a period of time?
Very periodically, but then I guess I was an awake boy. I would say very different from such a young age, like 7. So I was aware, sat in the back of the car contemplating death. And I can remember these very things I was contemplating, like you can't die, if you're born here. And there was just so many things that I was growing with and taking myself off the foods and then this continual process of, everything. It was a very long, expansive journey. And I feel like that's why, all of the complex nature of what I seeked. So I was so intellectual, it was unbelievable. There was an answer for absolutely everything, even if it was an energy or creating a perpetual motion device. All these things were just so here. And then as I even expanded beyond the nature of intelligence and information, there's a source even greater. So this gets left and transcended. And what you're left with is each point, each pointing, each thing that can help, humanity, you could say, evolve themselves in the most rapid way. And that's why it's so easy for me or to be able to speak on any question that arises, because previous to that, every stone, I say, every stone that could ever be unturned was unturned. And even at age 12, 13 and 14, I knew that everything I seen within inside my or everything I seen, I knew that I would never forget, but it would create something inside of me. So I used to just look at pages and books and just feed myself with this. And I went through, like I said, everything you could ever imagine. Every government file, every invention, every machine, every technology, every food, every supplement, every part of the world. So all of the history, all of the false flags, from even 9/11. I'd say I probably spent 250, 300 hours, maybe more, just on one subject. And then I go to even creating certain aspects of free energy. And then I would look at all these UFOs and spend, thousands of hours, and then looking how they're created and going back to the Vimanas and understanding that, a Vimana uses this, the spiraling technology, which is obviously vortex geometry, which is found with the Mercury at the center, and this elevates it, and then you can correlate this with the Earth, and you can see the planets and the alignments and where's Mercury. And if you understand the plane that we live on, you see we got our sun and our moon, and then we got Mars and Venus and Saturn and Jupiter. Where's Mercury? Mercury is at the center of these Brahmanas, and then what is at the center? And if Mercury is this hermaphrodite, this energy of balance, and you start to see all these grand synchronizations. And then understanding magnetism is number one for most people within inside the physical nature, because it unveils everything. The language was another thing, but magnetism itself, everything is the source of magnetism. And everything, in all truths we found, if you study and understand the true nature of magnetism, that everything is energy, and it's all manifest from this such, will just give you everything. When you look outside and you see wind and it spirals, and you catch the dust, and you see a small tornado. How does it happen? In this mediation of pressure between hot and cold. And then you study the arts of Victor Schauberger, and you see that within the water system, it's just a revolution of hot and cold, which creates spiraling of the water, and the seas rise and fall within different temperatures, and all this motion. It's incredible. So yeah, there was a journey of continual expansion and evolution to then almost contract, to realize that everything that I seeked was kind of unnecessary but necessary, to find out that I was something and nothing, and then to find out that the ultimate reality is that this is a dream, a true dream. And that's why that nursery rhyme is there. Row, row, row your boat. I don't know if you had that one in your language. Yeah, gently down the stream. And it's all merrily, because life is but a dream. And you are able to control this dream, and you're able to create this reality. So what we want to do is not judge life, we want to experience life. And the way that we experience life and evolve ourselves is by application of the truth, but not anyone else's truth. It's your truth. And how you perceive the world to be, and you apply life to your very highest truth, and then you applying that truth, you become free. One more step. And then you get to knowing, and that knowing is liberating, because there's no longer a be lie. F is matter. Number 6, carbon. There's no longer a lie anymore. It's a knowing, and this knowing is K, balance. Number 11, the alphabet between these two twin pillars of these temples. Now, K, now is to know, but the true revelation is to be balanced now. And then you've 1K, which is backwards. So you win this balance, L even, the even, the L's are these wonderful sacred twin pillar temples that we have within our reality, that were built up so very high 33 years before they were destroyed back into ground zero. Z is the longitudinal wave, which is what we are in search of as the electrical beings here. This is all physical nature, but this is how we free ourselves. or a way to free ourselves. We can just let go right here, right now, and be silent and continue to be silent until it just happens. Any question that arises, you take your attention off the question and the questioner, and you continue to look and give no attention to this. I hope that answers your question.
I hope so too. And I also believe you answered Austin's question. Do you recommend contemplating on physical death of the person? And I believe you did that when you were 7. You just told us. So, But is it a recommendation?
I mean, I wouldn't want to limit you by telling one how to, contemplate as such. But if it arises inside of you, then it's great to find the source of that. And again, what is the person? And is the person that which I am? And then the person itself, you find out what is the person, which then frees you from the belief that you are the person. And then there's a great knowing that you are not the person. The person is the accumulation from the mind and the way that it perceives this to be. And there's something greater, deeper, which sees this arise within inside itself. So contemplating in that sort of style, yes, absolutely, you become free from that. And then you don't believe, there's no, I wonder if God's real. Is there a God? Is he a man? Is he in the clouds? It's like, I'm God. So we're not separate. We can never be separate. We never have been separate. And you're my brother and I'm yours. And I'm so free from any concept that all I am is pure love. I'm uncorruptible. The corrupt is the person. Someone that is free can be trusted with absolutely everything because there's no desire for anything. They just accept this experience as unveiling to them because it is the isness. And everything just is. And what is I, number 9, S, a sine wave of consciousness. That's all it is. Anything itness is IT. T is 20, which is physical. So it's a physical thing that arises as a manifestation within consciousness. So it is not you. It is not you. It can never be you. It's physical. It's only is, not what it.
Lisa, again, speaking of dreams, is sleep necessary? Do you sleep every night or do you go through periods of time without sleep?
See, as I said earlier on, when you sleep, you wake up. And when you wake up, you sleep. So the self becomes alive again when one goes back to sleep, but the inability to control the self, it feels like one's disconnected here, but the self is always there. So you can create a relationship where you can be in lucidity. You may say Lucifer, the L is cipher. The cipher is pure balance. You can have a state where your wakefulness and sleep in between here. You're boundless. You're free from the avatar. You're free as consciousness itself. You can leave the body. You can experience so many different things. You can float around. You can astral project. And this is what one has to practice with inside their selves. If they choose to give their attention to this and practice this, social media is something straight. Absolutely. I mean, sometimes during practices, sometimes you just feel like you've not been asleep the whole night because you haven't quite got it right. You feel like you haven't slept. There was no time, but you wake up feeling fresh, and you were kind of trapped in a pure aware state where you're so aware of everything that's going on, absolutely everywhere, but the body's asleep. You haven't quite left the body as such, but your awareness still sat with the body while the body's resting, and every noise, every movement, so you can learn to sleep with one eye open. And as you do that, you're consistently aware, but the body's fully rested. But you may perceive that you haven't rested because your awareness itself was awake the whole night. And then as you practice disconnecting yourself from it, then, you know, if you study, the words eluded me now, clairaudience and the tests they do within the CIA back in the 50s, you know, it doesn't take someone very long to be able to practice the art of clairaudience. So once one practices the clairaudience, you know, touching something has memory all within inside itself, and this is all connected at all moments. So you get shown an image straight away, and I think it was about 80% of the test subjects were able to locate exactly where something had come from across the whole plane. And it's just a small studying or attentiveness to this. We spend time, hours on, you know, I'd say, you know, junk food for the mind. I mean, what we're talking about now is, you know, absolute opposite of junk food for the mind. This is going to help so many people if they choose to apply this. But just a small amount of the time that most people spend on social media, they can develop their supernatural abilities. And you don't even have to have this type of lifestyle that we're searching, you know, or living the ultimate truth in all aspects, the freedom from all disease, all ailments, and all bodily pain, or mental pain. You can practice this with your attention, and everybody should experience it. I mean, as a part of naturally evolving, what you have to do is, if you wish to continue to expand yourself, I could walk. Let's say 6-7 years ago, walking anywhere, I heard everyone's thoughts, thinkingness, everyone's intentions. It was just a happening. There was no trying, and then it comes and it goes. But if you try to hold on to it, it's going to separate you from ever receiving it, because it's a natural part of your evolution. So this is something that's so fundamental. When one strips away the personhood, that it just happens for you. But if you try to hold on, you lose everything. Life's about continually expanding. You know, they always have these people inside the movies who, you know, try to hold on to this power, and it ends up slipping away from them and they lose everything. You just accept everything that's happening, because there's more and more and more gifts. Ultimately, you become so free that you would want nothing else. You want for nothing, not even the clairaudience or the clairvoyance or the telepathy or any of these things. But they're very real, very real. Have no desire to have no desire, but also allow in your freedom just to try effortlessly, just to be effortlessly observant. As you'll see, like I think I may have said this on our last show, but I talk to so many different people all the time that I may not have, is when you walk past the window and you see the people eating in the restaurants, be free from trying to read their lips, but also just look and hear. And when you look and hear, you'll see that you absolutely know what they're saying, because it fills in the gaps. So you can walk anywhere, you can hear, you can read people's voices, but if you try to focus and try, you'll lose and you won't hear. But you hear everything that's being said. You focus your attentiveness on it without judgment. All shall be revealed to you.
We're getting close to 90 minutes. I know some people think these talks can get too long. Somebody can listen for hours, so it's a balance.
Always
also here. But if anyone has any questions, please share them, and we will, or Josh will address them.
So how has your day been anyway? Have you had a wonderful day with your beautiful family and enjoying the cold?
Today's been milder. We had 8 plus degrees. Wow. So it fluctuates greatly. So today we had a nice long walk without having to dress up like Eskimos.
Shorts and
So
t-shirts.
it was it was kind of nice,
Yeah.
or very nice actually. So when we have put away the last reminiscence of Christmas, the the Christmas decorations and these things, a little bit late, but so no, it's been a good day. It's every day is a good day.
Good, good. We have the moon here and the skies are clear, which is usually the relationship with England. It's either they block the sun so it stays cool, or they let the moon come out so it's very cold. So we are colder than you. I think we're about 0 degrees at the moment. The moon is not quite
Ah.
full. But do you see the moon today? Did you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
You see it? It's over our heads.
So and and also I have noticed, and not to get into conspiracies, but there has been a lot of activity with planes and this whatever it is, but there's a lot of trails
Yeah.
going everywhere and crossing, and yeah. So
Today? Oh,
hmm?
today? Yesterday?
Every day.
Okay. Yeah, we
Ev-
can. I mean, at 5 a.m. in England, every day the skies are blue, clear. By 6:30, the grid patterns happen. By 8, there's a grey rain curtain over the whole, well, I'd say most of the country. You know, I can't be in all the parts of the country, but I do speak to a lot of people and I see it when I travel. And yeah, there's a consistent pattern. That's one of the things that caused me a lot of suffering when I was young. You know, it was trying to say, like, guys, can you not see this being sprayed? I've never noticed it before. And I wanted to change that aspect of it. You know, I really wanted to get rid of the chemtrails because of just how I thought that it was going to affect me. But everything's absolutely perfect. So, you know, even the Bible speaks of the spider webs in the sky, and
oh.
it will soon come to an end. You know, me and Michelle many years ago, we were looking at true numerology and crossing it over with vortex mass, and I think we'll do this as a show. And we worked out during the astrology and where we are in time that Judgment Day as such was going to be September the 25th, 2023.
Come again?
Judgment Day as such was going to be September the 25th, 2023, which is when all things were going to have a great shift here. So we'll see we'll see. Because we are in the age, this is basically 216, which is the mark of man, which is 6 times 6 times 6, which is the end of the beast system, you could say. But also there's this grand urgency as such to try and get the ability to take people to Mars, you know, because this frequency shift, people won't be able to exist here with these vaccines and all these things there are causing the frequency not to be able to reciprocate higher and higher and higher. And there's a frequency shift that's happening here, but then there's also a place where Mars is going to be very electronically built up, and an artificial environment is going to sustain most of these lives that are, you know, very systematic and wanting, we could say, the metaverse. You know, very technologically advanced, very electronic, and then we be basic back with the earth, and the meek shall inherit it. And yeah, we predicted this, I think, maybe five years ago. It was way before any corona and etc. happened. But we can bring everything that we did. It was a very complex, high understanding. You could say, and it was when one was very intellectual, and I left all that behind. So we'll bring it to everyone. It'll be a very interesting thing to cover. But yeah, so have a great freedom in knowing that everything that's happening within inside the world itself at this present time is absolutely for those who are looking to bring back life here, to plant trees, to get back to the temperate zone, to exist with fruit holistically. And we shall see great adventures to Mars very soon. And I think, 1.5 years, 1 year maximum, I think 1 year and a half. be off on the new trips, and then enjoying extraterrestrial land.
Very interesting.
Mm.
This popped up a few questions, Josh. Lisa is asking, did you go to school or did your parents allow you to take your own path?
Well, I didn't know that my father was so open for me not going to school until I got to a little bit older. But I did go to school until I was a bit, I say like 14, 15. There was times I had time off school, but the teachers, they were very happy with me just being me.
Mm.
Yeah, I had a very wonderful, you could say, respected school period. And when I reached the ages of 11, 12, I was always trained, very muscular, very sporty, very clean, pure, very advanced in my physical. So it brought me a lot of friends, you could say. And
I just have to go 2 minutes.
Please, it brought me a lot of friends and people that would, you could say, like me, or that type of lifestyle. So it was very easy for me. It wasn't very difficult. Everything floated along very good. So it was just more of an experience, something I was seeing. Never enjoyed it. Never listened. I used to revise on the day before the test and do very well. So school itself, never give it any attention, but I was there. I'd say up until around about year 10 in England, which would be the year before the last one. I just looked through the questions myself. Are you familiar with the act of recapitulation? I'm not, but I might be if it's a different understanding, so I will quickly have a look. The biogenetic law, embryonism, parallelism, often expressed. Interesting. Don't say an organism of thought. The theory of recapitulation is during the developmental stages of an organism, that is from fertilization and gestation to hatching and birth. The stages of development resemble the evolutionary ancestors. This is observed from a tadpole to a frog, which resembles a fish in its gills, and aquatic habitat. Yeah, again, it's a theory, so you've got to look at the word. Theories are not facts, so they're just there to take people's attention away from that, which is true. Yeah, so as things are growing, this is just the nature of things growing, and that's what's to be observed about that absolute individual thing. Anytime we create theories or concepts about something which is not, then we move ourselves away from the truth. So the truth is only observed, and it is the isness. And then that wisdom that you get from observing, rather than speculating and creating other concepts which can never be proved, we then bring ourselves closer to source. So all of these things and these ideas that are basically placed out there as information are there to put us away from observation and our own sciences. Other people's hearsay and other people's sciences will never become relative to our own truth and wisdom. So it's only through seeing will we actually become wise and experienced. So that's a great question, and something that I would love people to just be pointed towards. Everything that is a concept of someone else, especially the hearsay of all these scientists, it's absolutely the reverse of the ultimate truth. That's why they try to talk about the atom and have no idea what space is or time, etc. It's all concepts and theories. When you go inside yourself, you will find out. And when you observe, you will find out. I answered the question about recapitulation. And we can see there are shamans who say that it is necessary to recapitulate energetic exchange so that when we leave the body, we will have enough energy to move on. But you've never actually been the body itself.
Just before you answer the question, Josh, Could I ask you please not to touch your microphone stand?
Of course. Soon it will not be an issue.
Yeah, it just creates a lot of
Sorry.
interference. So,
apologies, my dear.
hands in pocket.
Yeah, so, for me, shaman, it should be related to the she man, the balanced man, the hermaphrodite, the merging of both energies. But I've never had any type of faith in anyone else, and especially like these concepts of shamans and shamanism. Anyone that really is actually seeking the ultimate truth and ultimate reality will take a slow and steady path to the realization of all these things. So I know myself, and I know that what is and what is within inside myself. So I trust myself, and that has been the most, I could say, freeing thing along the way. Is that I expand and I understand, and then I grow and I continue. I don't stay focused on one thing, because if I do, I miss the beauty. I free myself and I move on. I freed myself and I move on. I freed myself and I move on. And every time we look at someone else's experience, we fall into the trap of belief, and then we look at the words belief and we see that it's a lie and it'll never be a part of our reality. So the only way one can evolve themselves is when they involve themselves and observe, free from judgment, because that is the ultimate reality that is perceived, it's seen. And your observations bring your ultimate truth. So can I do my magic on the word recapitulate? Okay, so to recap is to cap, which is to put a cap on something, which is that capitalize or capital, which caps it all. So a cap is a limit. To bring back a limit of consciousness within your physical state, your physical reciprocation. So what it's doing is limiting oneself. If the word was to be broken down even beyond this, it might not make sense to many people. So it's a full reciprocation of this would be the solution. To fully reciprocate with the E, seeing the alpha's light with consciousness in your physical L8. So to bring the solution to recapitulate would be to basically bring the full magnetic field within your body, releasing light. And this is found in that sense. So yes, now after looking at the word with you, don't trust it. It's not true. The concept is false. And to free yourself from that false construct, you need to look towards the truth, which is, finding balance within your body and then activating yourself, which would then reciprocate your energy, unifying your masculine and feminine energies, bringing freedom and balance, which will then activate your forever lasting life as a true knowing, and meditation being the source of that which you are. And great knowing and a great wisdom will occur. What a great sort of thing to leave or to end this show on, to realize that one's true nature is meditation. To be free from all concepts is meditation. To try is not, but to be effortless is. To accept that which is your freedom. Have no desire to change anything, have no desire for anything, just accept which is presented to you in the presence of presence and innocence, and find that spiritual atonement in this unity and this oneness, which is an effortless seeing of grand perfection with no limitations. It's pure silence. It's the void, the abyss, the no thing. Yet everything arises from the no thing. Enjoy your dreams, learn, replay, contemplate, expand, don't hold, let go, and be free. I love each and every one of you so very much, and all I want for you is your peace. And I'm so grateful to be here with you, sharing And thank you for all your questions. I really appreciate thank you, brother, for the opportunity. Thank you for your presence, and thank you for everything that you do. Your love and your support.
Pleasure is all mine, and I don't do anything, or not much anyway. So, yes, thank you all. We will be back next week with a new main topic, but we will be open to talk about other things as well. So have a beautiful evening or day or morning wherever you may be, and whenever you may hear this. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Love you.
Love you very much, Josh. Thank you. Bye bye.